Okay, everyone, just a quick confirmation. Can you hear me well? Perfect, thank you. Thank you, Farzan. Awesome, thank you. Thank you, Matthew, James. Everyone, good to see you, to virtually see all of you here. I hope that you are all doing fine within the circumstances. I'm sure that every single instructor out there is saying that, but yes. So if there is anything that I can do to make your life easier, aside from not having the quiz and not having the test, but anything that I can make your life easier, I'm here to assist through those times, okay? So again, reach out, let me know if there's anything there. Okay, so this is our week 13, the last day that we're gonna have a full day of exercises and a bit of explanations, demonstrations, lectures. So that's the last one. The next one, next week, we're gonna have, beginning of the class, we're gonna have some demonstration exercise, and then we're gonna jump to our final test, okay? Final one, we're gonna have graphic user interface, we're gonna have test-driven development, polymorphism, interface, inheritance, abstract classes, and exception handling. Very simple one with exception handling. Don't stress over that too much. It's just a simple try-catch block, okay? So that's for next week. For today we have our last quiz, quiz number 5. It's about graphical user interface, GUI, and test-driven development. We're gonna be doing it around 8 p.m. or as soon as we are done with the demonstration that I'll be walking you through. Yesterday I did the same thing and it took us about to 8:20, so it may be a little bit further down, but between 8 to 8:20 we should be getting started with our quiz number 5. Okay, on that topic of how things will flow today is the following. So we're going to start with me reviewing exercise 14. I'll be going step by step on how it can be done. I want to see who had a chance to do it or not, but I'll walk you through this entire exercise. Then we're gonna do our quiz. Then we're gonna start and hopefully finish as well. Under week 13, we have exercise 15 and 16. So demonstration, quiz, exercise. That's how things will flow today. Okay, any questions before we get going? I want to see interaction today. I don't want to see this as a monologue. Well, it is a monologue because I'm the only one speaking, but I want to see feedback from you in the chat or on Padlet as well. I want to see interaction. Let's make this more dynamic, okay? So I wake up the ones that are sleeping out there. Any questions before we get started? Anything in general? Farzan, not to worry, I'll provide enough feedback for 5 people. Okay, awesome. Looking forward to it, to them, Farzan. Okay, so where do we start? We're gonna start. Okay, Mamadou has a question. Will testing be in the final? Test-driven development? That is the plan, Mamadou. That is the plan. And today I'll be walking through a very good example, exercise, demonstration of test-driven development. Okay, I'll be walking through 5 different test scenarios. Okay, so that's exercise 14. But yeah, that will be there as well. This is the, and I have that somewhere here. Give me 1 second. Let's see here. So just typing the topics here. So GUI, it's test-driven development, interfaces, abstract classes, polymorphism, however we write that down. I mean, I don't know how to write that down top of my head, to be honest with you. Polymorphism, whatever it is, you got it. And the last one is exception handling. Okay, so these are the ones here. Let me fix polymorphism. It's not nice to have an instructor that doesn't know how to write its own topic. Polymorphism, yes. Okay, here we have. Okay, so these are the 5 topics for the final. I'm gonna put it there in the chat, and I'm gonna put that on Padlet as well. Okay, no problem, no problem. Okay, so last time I left you with an exercise. I left you with this exercise. Okay, programming exercise 14. The question is, who had a chance to have a look at this one here? Anyone? Give him some yes, no's, no way in the chat. Thank you, James, Sina, Parwinder, thank you very much. Thank you for that. Okay, good to see that. Mazir as well. Good to see that. No, some students have done it. Farzan, not yet. That's fine, Farzan. I'm gonna be walking you through. You still have the chance to do that by yourself, and then check the solution and check the video as well as you go through it again. Okay, so no worries about that. So use this time well to at least pay attention, ask me questions. Maybe if you want to do that by yourself as I go through it, you can do that by yourself. That's fine. You can, you know, have Visual Studio running there and do this at the same time. But let's see what this is. So basically, this is an exercise that will cover 3 of the topics from the final. It will cover the graphical user interface. It will cover test-driven development, and also the use of exception handling. Okay, so we're gonna cover all of them here. So we use this time well to, if you have done exercise, to address any questions you may have. If you have not done, just pay attention, maybe do it at the same time, and let's get this one moving forward here. Okay, so the exercise says create a Visual Studio solution and project called bank. Okay, so I have Visual Studio open here. We're gonna go and create a new project. And by the way, there will be no new topics today. Okay, so today is really about exercise, demonstration, exercise, the quiz. There is not everything that was supposed to have been covered was covered with given the week that we had off to get adjusted to the online part. Anyway, we're gonna create a new project here. So it will be a Windows Forms app. You're gonna be doing the same type of application in your test as well. So I'm gonna move forward here. The name is bank. So you're gonna just call this bank. This is the project name and the solution name as well. I recommend that you keep this checkbox unchecked. So I'm running Visual Studio 2019 here. If you have Visual Studio 2017, you will see an option there that is actually the opposite of this one. So in 2017, you actually need to keep the checkbox checked there because it's the opposite, okay? But 2019, we keep this unchecked because what you're gonna do is you're gonna have a solution folder, and underneath that solution folder, you're gonna have one folder for the project and one folder for the test project, okay? So you're gonna uncheck this, keep the framework as the last one, but very important, it has to be .NET Framework, not .NET Core. I see students getting stuck because they are doing the assignment 4 and they are choosing .NET Core by mistake. No, it's not .NET Core. We're not doing .NET Core here. By the way, talking about .NET Core, I got my schedule for next semester, summer semester. I will be teaching 3 sections of web application development. That's comp229. Okay, so hey, looking forward to have all of you in my comp229 next semester as well. Okay, so comp229, I'm taking section 1, 2, and 3 if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so hopefully see you there. Great, Mamadou. Okay, so here we have, that's the bank solution project, all good. So let's create this. Okay, so we have the project here. Then what? It asks for this class to be created, a bank account class to be created and follow this diagram. So it's a class with 1 field, 3 properties, 2 methods, and 1 constructor here. So we're gonna have the name bank account. Let's just go to bank, right click, and then go add. I can go straight to class here, that's fine. And then this is called bank account. Okay, so I'm gonna add. Okay, so we have our class here. And let's create the balance property. Now, look at this. We have balance property here in balance field, but we only have account number and customer number as properties here. So my question is, will customer name and account number be a regular property or an auto-implemented property? Let me see some feedback there in the chat. Regular or auto-implemented? Yes, for example, auto-implemented, okay? Because there are no fields, so you're gonna have a get and set that does not get or it does not set to a field, but it's just auto-implemented, okay? So let's start with the balance here, which is a private double. And look, balance only has the get. It does not have the sets. So it's a read-only property. So let's get that one going. Yes, for example, read-only. Good. So I'm gonna say private double, and that's balance. And then we have a public double as well, balance capital B, and we're gonna have a get. So get will return balance, and that's it. That's it for our balance here. We have now account number and customer name, account number integer, customer name string. So we're just gonna do an auto-implemented here. So public int account number, and we have a get and a set, and then we have a public string, and this is customer name, and then we have a get and a set here. Great. Okay, now we have 2 methods and 1 constructor. Let's start with the constructor. So our constructor here, bank account, it has 3 parameters, 1 for each property. Okay, so let's put it together. Let's start with the constructor. So we have a constructor, public bank account. It has 3 parameters. Account number, so int account number, then we have string for customer name, and last one we have the balance. We have a double, which is the balance here. Okay, great. And then let's set the values. So you're gonna say we have account number here, so let's say account number equals to account number, parameter, so just setting the parameter to the property. The same thing with customer name. We have a property, capital C, customer name, and customer name. And then we have balance. So balance, should we do this as we don't have a property? Or actually we have a property. But if we use the property is read-only, so it doesn't accept that. Then I have to go to the private field. So should I just do this? Is that the right approach? Any feedback there? So what is the right approach in this situation? To set the value of balance. Mazir, yes, look, Frasan, Arshdeep, that's it. We have the keyword this. This will allow you to get a reference to the current object of this class. And this allows you to get access to the balance. So the keyword this will make balance no longer ambiguous. Right now, if you say just balance, it means the balance in the arguments, in the parameters of the method, okay? But then when you put the keyword this dot balance, it means the external balance, the one that is a private field, okay? Mazir, I hope that this explains, this makes sense. Okay, so let's see here. Let's see next step. So we have done the constructor. Now we have two methods, okay? So we have the deposit method and the withdraw method. So let's start. Let's start with the withdraw, okay? Let's go with the withdraw, and then we have an amount here. So I'm gonna do it like this. I'm gonna say public. There's no return type. Actually, return type is void, okay? So public void with draw. It has a parameter which is a double for the amount that you're going to withdraw. And then we're going to perform the operation. What should we do here? We just need to update the balance. So how this line looks like? Anyone in the chat? How is this line looking like for the withdraw? Come on there. I mean, how this line will look like? What is the next line that I write here? Inside the withdraw. That's it. So we're gonna get the balance, and we could say balance equals to balance minus amount. But to make it simpler, we can just say minus equals to amount. Okay? So that's what it will do. Initially, just deduct the amount from the balance. And we're going to do something similar. So as you can see, we're going to do something similar to the deposit as well. But deposit, we're going to do the opposite. Okay, so we're going to say, exactly. So public void deposit. And then we have a double as a parameter for the amount. And then you're going to have balance plus equals to amount. Our test that you're going to be doing as the last part of this exercise will be testing whether or not withdraw and deposit are working correctly. That's what our test project will be testing, okay? But this will come a little bit later. Okay, now what? Let's see. Now, look at this. Within the withdraw methods, if the amount is greater than the balance, throw an exception. Okay? Remember, when we discussed about exception handling, we saw that we can also have situations where we want to throw an exception. Okay? This is the case. I don't want to allow withdraws if the amount is greater than the balance. Okay? No withdraw, no overdraft limit here. So you either have the balance, if you don't, throw an exception. So we're gonna do, before we update the balance, we're gonna do something like this. We're gonna say, if amount is greater than balance, then I'm gonna throw an exception. I'm gonna say throw.
Do you want to put it in the cup?
Okay.
You should save that stuff. But
Okay, so throw, in this case here, throw an exception. So throw new, let's see what type of exception is that one. So it's an exception like this. Okay, so show this exception here. So new exception, and we have a message here. Okay, so if we try to withdraw an amount that is greater than the balance, we throw an exception and we say amount cannot be greater than the balance. Now, remember when I spoke about exception handling that usually whoever is throwing the exception is not the one catching. That's the reason why we will not be writing a try-catch block in the withdraw methods. We're gonna leave the try-catch block to whoever will be calling this method, okay? Which will come next when we start to deal with the user interface. Okay. Okay, so next step here. Now, both methods, both withdraw, okay, no problem. So I see a question here. Can you explain again why not try catch? Okay, no problem, Ashdeep. So here's the thing. If I were to put a try block here, like something like this, it does make sense for me to throw this exception because when you throw an exception, what you're saying is that you are telling whoever is calling this method that this value is not accepted. Okay? Now, if you do a try and catch inside of the method, you are not telling anyone because whoever is calling withdraw will not know that there was a problem with the amount because you caught the problem here. You throw the problem, but you caught it. You didn't give a chance for, let's say in our case, we're gonna have a button here that you're gonna allow the user to withdraw money. So you didn't give a chance for the application, for the form, to know that this was an invalid amount. You didn't give that a chance because you throw the exception, but you catch it. It's like you throw the ball in the air and you caught it. You caught back. You didn't throw that to someone else. That someone else would be the form. So the form is not aware of the ball there because you throw it and you caught the ball. You have to throw and somebody else catch that. That's the idea here. We'll be testing this later. It's not just about the test, Farzan. So Farzan is saying, isn't it because later we will be testing it? We'll be testing it. Yes, that's correct. We're gonna be doing that, but it's not because of that. Testing is just verifying that the code is doing what it's supposed to do. Okay, it's not part of the application. It's almost like, as I kind of explained in the past here, think about your test as a little robot that will be playing with your application here. So let me try to explain this in a slightly less convoluted way. It's the reason why we're not putting try here is not because of the test project that you're going to be doing. The test project is testing what we are expecting on how our code is expected to behave. Okay, so this try catch can be used and should be used by whoever calls withdraw, but not by withdraw itself, because otherwise you are not communicating that there was a problem with the amount. Let me ask you this: if you catch the exception like this, okay? If you catch the exception like this, how would I know? And by I mean I'm calling withdraw, and I'm saying withdraw $1,000, but my account has only $500. How will withdraw let me know that there's not enough funds? There's no way, because you see this function here, this method, is very simple. It has a void and an incoming element. There's no other way to communicate that back to whoever is calling that except via an exception like this. Okay, let me see here. Okay, Edgar, are we going to handle the exceptions only via testing in the final exam, or are we going to need try, throw, catch? Okay, let me understand your question here. Are we going to handle the exceptions only via testing? No, actually, okay. So exception handling is not done in the test. The test is only verifying whether or not an exception is happening. So exception handling is not a job of the test project that we're going to be putting together next. Exception handling is a job of whoever is calling this. Okay, so to answer your question, in the final exam we're going to have a try catch block, not inside the test project but in your application, because your application is the one that needs to handle errors. The test project is only testing whether or not the way you code your methods is working the way you expect them to work. I don't know if that makes sense. Farzan, I see many notes from you. I don't know if you are stuck on something there. Maybe give me a summary of if in case you are stuck on something here. Okay? Okay, try and catch is on the back end. Okay. Yeah. By yeah, so if you, let me see if I understood what you're saying. If you put the try catch here, it's too deep. And yes, it's not going to be surfaced there in the interface. So if I get your point correctly, you're right. Okay? That's very true. Yes, very true. Yes. So as Mabado is suggestion, let's keep moving forward, and we're gonna be using try catch block a little bit later in the exercise. Okay, so we're gonna be using this when we are actually coding the front end. Control. Okay, let me just do proper indentation here. Okay. Okay, so let's see here. So we have the first one. We're gonna do the same thing for the deposits. Sorry, not the same thing. We're gonna do the other argument. So the other one is in both withdraw and deposits methods, if the amount is 0 or less, throw an exception. Okay, so we're gonna throw this exception here. Okay, so if I'm gonna do that for the withdraw first, if amount is less than, sorry, if amount is less than or equal to 0, then throw this exception. Okay, so throw so we're gonna throw this other exception here, and then we're gonna use the same one. If the amount is less than or equal to 0, we're gonna do the same thing for the deposits. Okay, so I think that we are done with that. Let me see. Okay, so now let's move forward here to our user interface, our form. So our form, it should be called, okay, Ederson, the exception could replace with an if statement. Okay, so let me address that quickly here, Ederson. So could the exception be handled with an if else statement? Here's the problem. If you handle with an if and else statement, again, you are not letting whoever called withdraw and whoever called deposit, you are not letting them know that there was a problem. If you put an if statement here, how can they know? There's no way, because it's void and it receives a value. It doesn't return anything. So the only way you really hear is when you throw the exception. Okay? Yes, that's it. Okay, so now we have our form, and our form has a name, and the name is FRM transaction. Okay, so let's go to our form. Let's put a name to it. So let's click on our form. Let's go to the top, FRM transaction. I'm gonna show you this one more time here, because I don't want you to face this problem next week when you are 10 minutes away from delivering your exam, from delivering your test. It's very easy, and I do that all the time, to by mistake double click on a control, on a form. I'm gonna do that right now. When I double click, it automatically creates an event for me, and you might be tempted to delete this event manually. Okay, so I'm gonna give you two options here. First option, the easy one. If you do this by mistake, don't worry, leave the code there. It's better to leave it empty than to try to delete it and screw up your codes. So option one is leave it there. It's not the prettiest option, but it works. Second option here, if you want to have your neat, clean codes, what you have to do is you have to go back to the control that the event is related to. In our case, is the form. So I have to go back to the form. I have to go to the events, little light bolt, the events of the form. I'm going to delete whatever is inside of the load event. I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to save this, and I can go back to the code. Sometimes Visual Studio will get rid of the code for you automatically, as it did right now for us. Sometimes it won't. If it does not take care of it, removing it automatically, you can remove now. But you have to first get rid of the connection between the control and the event. Second option here. Second option is a little bit more involved, but gets your code very clean. First option, it's safer. So go for the first option. I don't want people 10 minutes away from delivering the test saying that my form is broken, I cannot get it to work. I won't be able to help you. Okay? Is this clear? Makes sense? Okay. moving forward here. So we have our form. Our form has a title. And the title of our form is bank accounts. So controls, you're going to find, most of them you're going to find with a name, which we just renamed it, and a text, which we're going to put it right now. We're going to call it bank account. At the top, you can see bank account as a title. And now we're going to add our first two controls here. Let's add account information and transaction. Which control is that one? Can anyone tell me in the chat what's the name of this control? Account information and transaction. Group box, yes, that's it, group box. So I'm going to add from my toolbox a group box here, two group boxes. Here's the first one. Just gonna position it roughly in the center. And I'm gonna copy and position the second one here. Now, as I said before, if you will not be coding with that control in your code, you don't need to care about its name. So I'm gonna leave the name of both of them as is, but I have to change the title because the title says account information and transaction. Okay, so the first one, that's the text, account information, and then we have transaction as the next one. Okay, and then we have a few controls inside of them. So we're gonna have here these three labels plus this one here. I don't really care about their names. They are static labels. What I mean by static, their properties, they don't change when I'm running the application. So I'm not coding with their names at all in the code. So I just need to add them. I don't need to worry about their names. However, these ones, we have to name them properly because we're gonna be working with their names to set the account number, the name of the customer, and the balance of the accounts, okay? So those ones, we have to worry about the names, but not the initial sets. Okay, so let's put 6 labels here in the first box and 1 label in the second box, group box. So let's go here, label. So we're gonna have, I'm just gonna go Control C, Control V here. Then we're gonna have to add 3 more. And 1 on the other place, on the other box, group box. So I'm gonna add it right here. Okay, but these I have to change the text. So I'm gonna go account number, name. So in the text, I'm gonna go account number. This is name, and this is balance. I don't worry about their names, but these ones, I do worry about their names because I'll be coding with their names in mind. So I'm gonna call this one here short, the prefix for labels, LBL, account number. Sina has a question, how to change size of label? Well, you don't really change its size. What you do, Sina, is that if you want to have the label to make it bigger, the font, you're gonna work in the font. We're gonna change the font in a second. So to make it bigger, you're gonna change the font. You're gonna set the font size, color, whatever you want, font type. but the label itself, it adjusts to the text that is inside of it. Okay, so I'm gonna get rid of label 6, and I'm gonna just put a line there. Okay, and it fits the whatever text is inside. Next label is label customer name. So I'm gonna set the text to just a bunch of dashes there. No problem. And then the label name, LBL customer name. And the last one here, we have LBL balance. LBL balance. And I'm just gonna put some. I don't recommend that you get rid of the text property completely, because otherwise, look, you no longer see the label where it is. So put it something there. So at least you can have a reference, a visual reference where it is. Okay, this one here is the amount. So I'm just gonna say amount. And that's it for now about our labels. Okay, so now we're gonna put two, which controls are those ones, withdraw. This should be withdraw, not withdrawn. Okay, so those are, yes, radio buttons. So RBTN, that's a short thing for that, for example. So I'm gonna say, so that's the radio button here. Thank you, James. Radio button, and then we have, I'm gonna call this RBTN, and this is the withdraw. I'm gonna put the name, the text that goes on top, withdraw, and I'm gonna copy this and paste and do something similar here, but now it's the deposit. And we have RBTN deposit. Now I'm going to select one by default. Okay, so just that whenever the application runs, there is one that is selected automatically. So I'm going to go to the first one and going to set the checked property to true. So one becomes selected by default. Now we need to have the text for the amount. Okay. So I'm going to go to the text box. And that's it here. I'm going to put the name for that. Let's call it txt amount. And by default, I'm going to have there as the text as 0. And now, just to wrap things up from a visual standpoint, let's just increase the font. When you increase the font of a container, the font of every control inside increases automatically or changes automatically. So I'm going to increase the font for the group. So here's the font property. I'm going to go for 11 pixels. Sorry, it's not 11 pixels. What is? I don't know. But you need, points, 11 points, okay. And let's make it bold. And let's not make this one bold, because we can reset that. Okay, so we made bold. Let's make this 11 as well. And let's leave, actually let's make them bold, and I'm going to decrease this. I'm going to unbold everything inside. So just gonna keep it like this. Let's give this a quick run and see if it's at least functioning. We didn't code yet our form, but we're gonna do next once we have a look here. So we have clicking is fine, everything is okay, but there's no function. Oh, actually there's one missing control here. We have just missed the button, process button, okay? So we're gonna add a button here. So here we have, let's call this btn process, and the text that is on top is just process. Great, great, okay. Now let's see what the exercise is asking for us next. So we have named the form. Here on B, it's asking for a private object of type bank account called my account inside the class FRM transaction. So we're gonna, this is like a private field, okay, that normally we have in classes. We're gonna have one for the bank account. So here in our code, in our form code, we're gonna have, on the definition of our form, we're gonna have a private bank account. I'm gonna call it my account, and that's it. Okay, so just gonna declare it here, and the exercise is asking for my account to be created on the load event of the form. Okay, so on the load event we have to code this, we have to add this line. So we go back to our form, we click in our control, in our form control. You know that because you see the handles around the form. If you are in the button, you see the one selected, and you click, one click is enough. Then you can go to the events of the form, go to the load event, double click, and it creates for you the loads. Now, load event is the default event for the control. You have the same effect if you double click the form itself. If I double click here, I would go to the form load event. Okay. Okay, so let me go back here. Let me step back. So I don't know where to step back, Mamadou. What are you looking for? Mamadou, yeah, so where do I put the private? Okay, the private. So I went to the form source code. I can do that. It's already open here, but if it was not open, I could right click the form and view codes. Once I do that, I can go to the top of the form. I can see the definition of the form here, the header of the form class, FRM transaction. Right inside of it, I declare my private bank account, my account. Okay, this is equivalent when we say bank account and we declare a private balance there. Very similar. Okay, it's a class, it's a private field, it's a class in a private field. Okay, again, don't get too much caught up in the fact that this is a special type of class, which is a form. No, it's just a class. For example, let me see here, there. So when you click on the form, it produces the load method the same way. Yes, it's the same way. So I'm just gonna revert this back here for a second. I'm gonna delete it and start again there. So I'm gonna save this. Look, the code, the form load is gone. So if I go back to the form and I double click the form, look, it creates for me as well. Okay, has the same effects. Yes, for example. So the same thing. So, but again, this only works for the default event of that control. If you wanted another event, you have to click the control, go to the events, and then click on the appropriate event. But this works for the onload in the form. For the click of the button, I'm gonna do this in the process here. See, process button, I'm gonna double click. It does that for me as well. It gives me the methods with the event for the click of the button. Okay, the same effect. Okay, all clear? Farzan, Mamadou, all clear there? Okay, if you have follow-up questions, just let me know. Let me check Padlet here because I have not been checked that. Checking that. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we have created our, no, we have not created it yet. So here is our line of code. So we are creating the new bank account. This is the number, the name, and the balance, $10,000 here. Okay, great. Now, the next point in the exercise is inset the initial values of the labels, amount, account number, name, and balance. So, at the same time that we create our new account, we have to set the three labels here, okay? So because otherwise, look, if I run this code, it runs, but there's no account number, no name, and no balance, okay? So we need to set them up. So we go back to the code, and we're gonna do that one by one. We're gonna say LBL account number dot text equals to my account dot account number. Now, account number is an integer. I have to convert this to a string so I can set to the text. Okay? So this is how you do it. Okay? Next one, LBL customer name dot text equals to what? My account object dot customer name. Customer name is a string already. Text is a string. This is all we need here. Okay? And LBL balance dot text equals to my account dot balance as well. But now let's format this as currency. So let's say to string, converting the double to a string, but formatting it as currency. Okay, so now if we run, we're gonna get this information in our interface. Let's give this a try. Okay, so account number, name, and balance here formatted as currency. Any questions? All good? Okay, so let's do this. It's 7:23. Let's have our 5 minutes break. Once we come back, we're gonna finish the button and then we're gonna move forward with the test project, with the test-driven project part of it. 5 minutes, we'll be back. Okay, can you please confirm that you can hear me? Just a quick confirmation. Yep. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Awesome. Great. Great. Thank you very much. Okay. So, okay, Farzan, go ahead. Tell me. Your balance is not showing. Well, the balance is not showing when you run the code. If you want, yeah, I'll run it. So here's the balance. If you want to share your code or to share snapshots, you can do that easily from Slack. And I think that I have Slack open here. I'm just looking. Well, I should have Slack. Bank account, bank account, bank account, we have balance here. And in the bank account, maybe you have missed something here. Yeah, so if you want to send me a snapshot of your code, something is a bit off with your code. Look if you are not, again, do you have this balance? Are you sure that this is all good? Did you do the get return balance here? Or did you do an automated, maybe check your gets. You did it automated. So that's the reason why. Yeah, no, that's a problem. It has to return the balance from the private fields, okay? Cannot be automated. Okay. So let's see here. Let's see where we are. Okay, now we're gonna have to code the process button. We're gonna have to check if it's a deposit or withdraw. So let's go here to our form, to the button, and then we're gonna start by doing what? Anyone give me a suggestion there. What do I have to determine first? We're gonna have an if to check whether or not this is a deposit or this is a withdrawal. So I can use as a reference point the checkbox called RBTN withdraw. So I can say something like this. If RBTN withdraw dot checked, if it's checked, I'm gonna do what? I'm gonna call my account, my object here, and then process a withdrawal of a certain amount. Okay, let's leave the amount out for now. We're gonna get to it in a second. Else, we're gonna call my account dot deposit. Okay, and you're gonna deposit a certain amount. First question, next question actually is, don't I need to use this checkbox as well? This radio button too? I'm just checking this one. What about this one? Do I need to check it or not? Do I need to check the second one or not? No need. And the reason is because they are exclusive. If one is false, the other one is true. If one is true, the other one is false. Okay, so there's no other option here. So I don't necessarily need to check if it's deposit, if deposit is checked or not. I'm already doing this here in the withdraw. Okay, that's the first thing. Now, let's get the amount. So we have the amount field here. I'm going to say, I'm gonna get that value in the text box. So I'm gonna say double amount. This is a local variable. I'm gonna get the value from the text amount text box. Which property should I use here from text box? From txt amount. So we use text. Now, this is a string, so I'm gonna use double.parse. So we have the amount now. Checked is for if the value is selected. Correct, HTTP, yes. Whether or not withdraw is selected. If withdraw is selected, it means that I want to withdraw. If withdraw is not selected, it means that the other one is selected and I want a deposit. Okay? Then we're gonna withdraw this amount or deposit this amount. Okay? Great. Great, great, great. What else? What else we have here? And of course, we're gonna have to display it back. display it back here in the balance, okay? So the balance is LBL balance, and I'm gonna do something like this, LBL balance dot text, which is the text of the label. This is equals to what? What is this equal to? Okay, come on. What is that equal to? Very simple. Yes. So we're gonna go amount balance. Not necessarily amount. Let's think about this. Let's think about this a little bit more. Yes, we need to set the balance. We want the balance. We want the new balance of the account. So my account has a new balance. I'm gonna say my account dot balance. Okay. Now balance is a double. I have to convert this to a string, and I'm gonna format it again to currency. So withdraw will deduct this amount from the balance. Deposit will add this amount to the balance, and then at the end I get the balance back, and I show it here. There's no return value. Withdraw returns a void. Deposit is a void as well. But we have the balance property. Okay, we can get the new balance. Okay, hope it makes sense. Let's give this a try. Okay, so I'm gonna withdraw, let's say, $1,000 here. Process, and here we have the value. Or deposit 1,000. Deposit again and again and again and again. Or deduct, withdraw 5,000. Okay, so this is how we operate. Let's try to withdraw 5,000 when the balance is only 4,000. What will happen here? I'm gonna try 5,000, but there is only 4,000 there. What is it I'm gonna get here? Yes, so let's give this a try. Process, code breaks, exception gets thrown. Now, here is where I should handle the exception. Because right now, this is causing my application to crash. Because the exception is not handled. Now, what I can do is, I can, in the process button, I can handle the exception right here. Okay, before we do that, let's just, there's one more step here. We have to put this message when the transaction happens. Yes, so exception. So let's put the new balance there and let's show this message. Message box.show will show a pop-up on top of your form. Okay, so it behaves like this. Okay, so it deducts, it does the transaction, and it shows a message. Okay, now let's handle the exception. Let's handle that. So we're gonna put everything here because we can have an exception right here as well, and we're gonna handle that too. Okay, so let's put a big try catch exception involving everything here. Let's address, we're gonna address a few exceptions here. First of all, first one, we're gonna address the balance. No, not actually. Let's address the negative number first. Okay, so if we have a look at the bank accounts, let's address this one that works for both withdraw and deposit. Let's address the amount being 0 or less. Let's start with that. Okay, so I'm gonna say, here's the exception name. the type of exception, sorry. I'm gonna say catch exception, this exception. I'm gonna call this error. And I can say I can put a message. I can give a message that says message box show what? Show the error dot message. So I'm gonna pop up the message, the problem, okay? So this is the first one. Let's give it a try. This is handling 0 or negative numbers, okay? So let's say if I put minus 100 here, 1000, see? I no longer get an exception, I get a message, okay? If I put 0 as well, I get the same message, okay? So it's handling that exception, but it's not handling yet. Let's say if I try to withdraw 200,000, there's just 10,000 there. This one is not handled yet, so we're gonna handle that next. Okay, so this one is a general exception, and I'm gonna say catch exception error, and I'm gonna show a message show let's say that I want to show their message again. I'm gonna show this, sorry, message box. Now, because I'm sure I'm doing the same thing for both catches, I could have done one single catch and catch both of them. But because we have a third one, in the third one, I want to do something different here. So this is okay. I'm catching both problems here. This is a more specific one. This is a more generic one. Let's see here. I have a question somewhere. Okay, I just have one query. Can throw new exception work alone without try catch? Throw new exception work alone. Okay, so here's the problem, Archdeep. If you don't put a try catch, when the code reaches the exception, the program will crash. It will close. It will say there's an error and it stops working. Try catch block works to avoid that. Your application is still running, it doesn't crash. Without a try catch block, your application will crash, will stop working. I don't know if that makes sense. Try catch block is to avoid the application from crashing. So throws direct the program to a catch block. Throws an exception. If there is a catch, the catch will catch it. But maybe there is no catch there. So again, it will be caught if there is a catch. But as we saw in the beginning here, we didn't have a try catch block before. So nobody was catching the exception. Now, if the exception is being caught, like now, yes, throw will throw the workflow of the code to the catch. I don't know if it makes sense, Archdeep, but you tell me. Yes, Lincoln, once this is done, and this will be done shortly, I'm gonna zip it up, I'm gonna put that in Slack on a Padlet, okay? And I'll let you know so you can download. Where did you get the error message? Okay, so the error, Farzan, is coming from this error object here, okay? Message is a property of the class error, which has the details of that problem, okay? Awesome, awesome, good. Okay, so now we are handling both exceptions. Let me ask you this. In this block of code, is there another type of exception that we could catch here? A more specific one? Is there anything here that you see that could potentially result in an exception? That's it, James. A format exception. If we type characters, letters in the text amount, we're gonna have a failed parse call here. Okay, so I can also add another catch here that will catch the format exception. Now, exception is already handling that, to be honest, but we could put a format exception here, error, and we could say message box again, and we could put our own message here. We could say invalid characters in the amount. We could even put the focus of the cursor back in the amount. We could even say something like this: txt amount dot dot focus. What focus does? It's a method. It sets the focus back to that control. Again, I'm not asking you to do this. I'm just showing you that you can even set the focus there as well. So now our application is handling all the different exceptions. If it's 0, it's handling. If it's a negative number, it's handling that as well. If it has letters, it's handling that as well, invalid characters. If it's trying to withdraw more than it is there, it's gonna handle. So our application now is invincible. Okay, it's handling everything. Invincible, not invincible, invincible. Questions? Because I think that's it for the application itself. The focus, though, it's just this one here. So I just put that on this exception on the format. If I put letters here, gonna click, and the cursor, you see the blinking cursor, it's blinking inside of the control again, so it just goes there. The focus of the cursor goes back inside the control. Okay, that's the idea. Edgar, the format error is being thrown automatically. Yes, Edgar, yes, because here's the thing. We have some errors that we are creating. We are creating these, but there are some errors as well that are already built-in errors, like this one. When you try to parse a string that has characters, convert to a number, it's going to trigger an exception. It's a you can think of that as a built-in exception. Okay? Awesome. Okay, so I think this brings us to the end of this part 2. Part 3 is about the test driven, okay? About creating our test application, our test project, sorry. So we're gonna create now our test project. Our test project will have 5 test methods here. Okay, so here we have, within the bank solution, add a new test project called bank tests. Okay, let's do that. So our solution here, I can right click there and I can say add new project. Very important that you find the .NET Framework unit test project, okay? So you're gonna find that, you can type, but don't get the .NET Core, get the .NET Framework unit test project. The name will be bank tests. Keep the folder, framework, keep it as the latest one, the .NET Framework latest one, and then we're gonna create. And then from here, we're gonna rename unit test1 file and class to be called bank account tests. Okay, so we're gonna rename the class that has been created automatically, unit test1. I'm gonna right click there. I'm going to rename to bank account tests, a similar name as the class that we're gonna be testing. When I hit enter here, it's gonna ask me a question. The question is asking if we also want to rename the class, the test class, and we're gonna confirm that. Okay, so I'm gonna hit enter, and it's just asking if we want to rename. We want to rename both of them. So the file name and the class name, they are a match. Okay. Great. Now let's start to create our test methods. For the first two, I have given the names that you will be using. So the first one will test the deposit if we provide valid amounts, if it's gonna provide a valid an updated balance, withdraw as well if we are withdraw a valid amount, if it's gonna provide a correct balance as well. So let's do the first one. Deposit underscore valid amount underscore updates balance. Okay, so I'm gonna just rename this one here. Instead of test method 1, we're gonna call it this one. Deposit is the method, valid amount is the value that I'm providing to the method, and updates balance is what I expect out of the process, a correct balance. That's what I expect that the balance gets updated. Okay, do you have to name it exactly like this? No, just make sure that it's something that makes sense, that we have the three parts: method name, input values, expected outcome. Okay, and then we have our three sections here. We have arrange, we have act, and assert. Okay, all three of them. Now, here is my question. How should my arrange section look like? Can anyone give me the ones that have done the exercise? Can you give me your arrange section, how it looks like? This one here, this arrange, is slightly different from the one that we did last week. Okay, so let's see. Anyone wants to volunteer your codes for the benefit of the group? How do we start arranging this? Give me an example of an arrange. Come on, anyone? No problem. Yeah, we're gonna set an amount. That's true. We're gonna do that. Okay. Maybe let's start there. I'm gonna follow your lead, Farzan. So let's start there. Let's have an amount that you're gonna be depositing. Okay. Int amount. Amounts, they are double. Okay. So let's work with the amount. So let's say double amount. How much are we depositing here? Give me a value there. How much are we depositing? Okay, that's fine. So 100. Now what? So we know how much is it that we're depositing, but I think that we have to have something else to be able to balance. Yes, Sina, we need an object. Which object is that one that we need here? Which object do we need here? We need a bank account. That's correct. We need a bank account because yes, I want to deposit $100. Where? You need to deposit in a bank account. So you could have done this before, you could have done this after. That's fine either way. I'm gonna do this after because I would think that logically I need to have an account first for me to be able to deposit something, okay? So let's have our bank account here. I'm going to declare an object here of type bank account. I'm going to say my account, and this will be equals to a new bank account. I know that a bank account has a number. I can put some information here, let's say, number 1, that's my account number. The name of the customer will be Clark Kent here. And it will have a balance of $1,000. Okay, now we have several problems here. As Edgar is pointing, we also need a reference. Okay, so we have a problem here with bank accounts. It says type or namespace bank account could not be found. And then it gives you a clue. Are you missing a directive or an assembly reference? Yes, we are. We are missing a reference here. Okay? So we need to make bank tests point to bank so we can see the class bank account. Okay? So I'm gonna expand the references under bank tests. I'm going to right click there. I'm going to say add reference. This is a very important step. It has various little steps. If you miss one, you get screwed up because you don't get the reference and everything falls apart here. So very important that you get this right. Will this not include private bank account, my account like before? No, each test scenario, Archdeep, will have all the information there. Each scenario will have one. We'll have a new bank account. We don't need to declare this globally here. We can have it individually on each one. Okay? Yeah, so I'm gonna go to references here, add a reference. I'm gonna go to solution. I'm gonna go click bank. So I'm again making bank tests link to bank. So bank tests can see what is inside of the bank project, which is the class bank account. Okay? So I'm going to confirm here. Okay, confirmed. Now what? Next step. I still have the problem. I have a reference now to bank. I like that. I like to make it public. I like using. Let's start with using first. Farzan, we're gonna go to yours in a second, but let's use Sinas and Mamadou first here. Let's go to using. So let's put here using. Using what? Well, let's go to the bank account. Using the namespace, the bank namespace. Okay. So we're gonna put here using bank. That's okay. No errors here. It means that bank tests can see bank now. All good. However, we still have a problem here. Bank account is not visible. What is the problem here? What is the next step here? Let's have a look at our class. Yes. Right now, the way it is, what is the modifier, the default modifier for a class like that? If it doesn't have any here, it is dot What is the default modifier? Internal, yes. We need to change that because internal, it becomes only available to this project. We need to make this one public. So if you come back here, now we should be okay. And there we go. We are okay. Bank accounts, we are creating the object. We are setting the properties. We have declared an amount. Next, what is the third line that we're going to be adding to our arrange? You still have an error? Well, again, double check what you have done, Mamadou. You may have you done the bank reference? Have you done the using? Have you done the public? Okay. So something is missing there, because if it's not showing yet, then again, look, if you are getting an error, move the mouse over the error and see what is the message that says, what is the message that it is giving. Okay. By the way, this is, are you doing this in the Windows VM? I'm assuming so. Okay, so just checking. If you get stuck there, share a snapshot of the problem there on Slack, and I can have a look. Okay. Okay. Maybe try to close the solution, save it, save everything, close it, and open again. Sometimes it works. Okay, give it a try. Okay, so next one here, Sina, expected. Yes, Sina, we have expected here. What is the expected value here? Well, I'm depositing $100. If the balance is 1,000, the new balance will be, what I expect is 1,100. Okay. Then we're gonna act. When we say act, what do we mean by that? We're gonna call what? We're gonna call the methods that we want to, test. Okay, so I'm gonna go my account dot deposit, and I'm gonna try to deposit the amount. Now we have expected here. Here in the act, we need to have what? What is usually the variable name that we create when we are acting? What do we act upon? We act upon the methods, but then we check the value, the new balance, the updated balance. We want to see if the balance has been updated. So we can do it like this, double actual. So this is the actual balance. So I'm gonna say my account dot balance here. Okay, so we have the expected, the actual, and in the asserts, very simple, we're gonna just do assert dot are equal expected and actual. Okay, and if I recompile, if I go to the test explorer, test explorer, I can now see my test, and I can give this a try. Let's run this. Okay, so after we're done here, just to give it a try, just to no, everything passed. But if we go back to our method, and if I make a little mistake here with the deposit, let's say I copied and pasted, and I left the minus over there. If I try the method again, the test, it's gonna fail. And it shows me the reason. Failed. Expected was 1100, actual was 900. That's it. Now we know there's a problem. Although, what is Clark's balance? The balance you... yeah, so 1,000, yeah, okay, great. So again, we have an error because we made a mistake, and now we can just fix it, and all goes back to normal, and that's the idea of test. Okay, test is that. Let's rerun it, and we're gonna... Okay, so now we're gonna do something very similar, but for withdraw. So the withdraw is called withdraw valid amount, update balance. So let's do this. So we have test methods, that's the decoration. Public void withdraw valid amount, updates balance. And the code is very similar. The test, to run the test, you just click on the test you can go to the test explorer. It shows this area. If you don't see this area, you can move over again. So again, test explorer. It shows this area, and then you should be able to see the solution name, the namespace, the project name. I only see, okay, so let me see here. Oh yeah, sorry. Sorry, this is the project name, the namespace, and the class. And then you have the methods here. And then you can just click on it, click the one at the top, run everything again, and that's it. Okay, so now we're gonna put what we expect to happen with the withdraw. So I'm gonna copy this entire thing here. I'm gonna paste it here. I'm gonna just adjust a little bit. We're gonna create the same bank account for test. This is the amount. However, now we are doing the withdraw. Withdraw, we subtract from the balance. So we expect 900. We don't call deposit, we call withdraw. So it's gonna withdraw the amount. We're gonna set the actual, and we will compare expected with actual. Then let's save this. Let's run the test again. And we should be fine. Okay, great. Any questions? I have not been checking Padlet too often. Let me have a look there. Okay, I see a question there. Okay. Okay. So let me. So there's a question there in Padlet. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Ederson, I just saw this now, okay? Do you still want me to check that? Tell me something there. Sorry about that, Ederson. I just saw it now. That's okay? Are you sure? Is that clear? I mean... Okay, just to give you a quick explanation. So here's the question. I did not get why you put private bank account separated from new accounts. To be quite honest, Ederson, there is no particular reason for that. It could have been done at the same time, okay? The new could have been done right up there as well, okay? It would have not made any difference in this case here. I'm just saying that you could have, to answer your question, you could have done this in the same line here or here as well, okay? Great. Sorry about that. I did not see. Again, I keep too much focus on the GoToMeeting chat, and sometimes I miss what's going on there. Okay, so let's keep going here. We have now the 3 additional tests that we need to do. We need to run the three tests for the exceptions. The exception for amount 0 or negative, and for the balance if we try to withdraw more than what the balance, what is there for, in terms of balance, okay? So we're gonna put those together now. So the first one that you're gonna do the withdrawal to test if we try to withdraw more than what is there. Okay, so I'm gonna declare here a test methods public void the name of the method. This is the withdraw. Then we will have to think, look at the scenario. The scenario is this. We're going to try to withdraw more than what is there in the balance. So what do you think should be the name of the middle part of my test name, which usually relates to the values that we are inputting? What's the name? Any suggestion there? Over limits. I like that. I like that. Very simple one, straight to the point. Look at the size of mine. Look at, so the one that I had here is this, amount greater than balance. Over limits. So succinct. I love that. Over limit. Now, what is it that we expect to happen when we try to withdraw over the limit? What is our expectations? Overdraft fees. But no, this is not a real bank. So what we are expecting, look, what we are expecting is, we are expecting a bloody exception. Okay? So, limit. So, we expect an exception. That's it. Probably deep exception. You don't need to be specific on which exception you're expecting. You can be, that's fine. That's all good. But this is enough. This is I really like this one because it's very succinct, you know? So it tells the whole message here. So we have we're gonna have the arrange. Let's give this a try here. So let's arrange the same way. Let's create the same bank account with $1,000. The amount that you're gonna be trying. What is it that you're gonna be trying to withdraw here? How much? Yeah, overdraft fees is good, but we would have to make it a little bit more sophisticated. 1,001, that's fine. So 1,001. Now, here's the thing. Is there an expected value that I want this to return? Do I have an expected value? I don't. Because what I'm expecting really is an exception here. Okay, so there's no exception, there's no expected value here. Now, I'm gonna have the act. I'm gonna say my account dot withdraw amount. This will cause an exception, okay? Because of that, there is no point of having an assert, because the assertion will be done where? What is it that we are missing here to make this done, to get this method done? Let's look at the example, the exercise from last week. What is it that we need to do to say that, yes, James, we have to set the expected exception? Yep. So we have to go here to the top and say expected exception type of, and then we have to see which exception is that one. So this is just a simple general exception here. Okay. If I don't add this, let's give this a try. Let's try to test. See, it tells me that there's a problem there, that an exception has been raised. Okay. So I have to put that I'm expecting an exception to happen here. Okay, and if I check again, I should be able to run this. Okay, perfect. Great, so now we do that again for withdraw 0 or less, deposit 0 or less. So I'm going to create another method here. Let me just check. I'm going to create another test method. We're going to have our, now here's the thing. Let me get rid of this for now. So we're gonna test if the deposit was a positive number. Okay, so deposit, sorry, not deposit is a positive number. We're gonna test what will happen if we try to deposit 0 or a negative number. Okay, so deposit is the name of the method. How should I call the middle part? Just to let you know, this exercise is only asking for 5 methods, okay? Ideally, in a situation like this, I could have asked for 7, because, to be quite honest, I would like to be able to try depositing 0 and depositing a negative number. For the sake of simplicity here, I'm just gonna, because exercise is only asking for 5, I'm just gonna do one method that will try to deposit 0, and I'm gonna assume that if it worked for 0, it's gonna work for negative numbers as well. So Edgar, yeah, negative 0 amount. It could be it. No, it could be negative 0 amount. And then, what is it that we expect to happen? We expect, the same way as we did the other one, we expect an exception here. Okay. Now we're gonna range. So we're gonna range, we're gonna try to deposit, let's say, either 0 or a negative amount, let's say minus 100. Speaking Portuguese now. So minus 100. So let's try to act here. I'm gonna do my account dot deposit and then we're gonna say amount, and our assert will be empty. We are missing here our expected exception, expected exception, type of, and we have to check what is the exception there. Argument out of range exception, so we're gonna say that here. Great, so we test the deposit of minus 100, and let's give this a try. As I said, ideally here, because we should check for negative numbers and 0, ideally we should have a 0 test and a negative number test as well, but for simplicity's sake, we're just gonna keep 1. So all 4 are okay. The last one, which is the withdraw, very similar to this one, but we're gonna be using, it will be a withdraw instead of deposit. So I'm gonna just indent this a little bit better. We're gonna copy this one, and again, we're gonna reuse this and just change from deposit to withdraw. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna paste it there. I'm gonna say instead of deposit, we're gonna do the withdraw. And instead of deposit again here, we're gonna withdraw. Okay? So the range is the same. The act we're gonna call withdraw in the act, and we're gonna test this out. Run everything. All good here. That's it. We have one extra step to perform here before we are done, but I just want to check. Any questions? We have a lot of people here in the call. I doubt that this is clear to everyone. Come on. Any questions here for the test part? Give you a second to think about that. Okay, so let's do this. We still have one extra point there to finish, but let's have our intermission here. Once we come back, we finish the 2 additional points, and then we go for our quiz, okay? Anything before that? So again, our intermission, 15 minutes, grab something to eat. I want you to have your full energy to do the quiz, okay? 15 and we'll be back. Talk to you in a bit.